Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another deep dive. Welcome back to Dowler's Tactics. In this video, we're going over Guinevere. Guinevere, when I first started playing this game, I looked at her kit and thought, wow, that's a big disappointment. But Guinevere is actually, she's a really good unit. She's really, really good. So in this video, we're going to dive into her kit. We're going to try to explain everything you need to know about Guinevere, and then we're going to show her off in some game modes where she's going to be very, very, very good. Okay, so let's dive into Guinevere. First of all, you know, the lance. You know, Guinevere was in Arthurian lore. She was not a fighter, but I do appreciate the artwork. I do appreciate the shield and the lance. That's kind of cool. But could she really pick up that thing? No. But you know, I like all of her chivalry in her hair, and I like all the good stuff. So Guinevere, aesthetically pleasing. You know, she gets a pass. Plus, I love the chainmail underwear. That's probably going to be the code word of the day. Chainmail underwear. All right, let's start with her passives. Why am I such a deviant? Okay, passives. Passive number 1, which I don't have anything into, which I probably should, because this is actually a good passive. So at the start of battle, I love at the start of battle passives. Just start, you get this thing before anyone goes. 100% chance to grant a romantic reversal to each ally except yourself for 20 turns. And then you can obviously get this up to 50 turns with it maxed out, right? And they go by quick, because what is romantic reversal? It's abnormal status immunity, which is any form of CC. That is, abnormal status immunity is a excellent buff in this game. If you can't CC my units, you can't freeze them. You can still put dots on them, but here, I can just click on this and show you what it prevents. Oh no, it doesn't show it, but yeah, it's basically any form of crowd control. You know, the co-op attack up doesn't really matter a whole bunch. Damage taken, 12%. That's nice. 12% damage. That's a whole leadership right there added onto your team at the start of battle. But it's 20 turns. So it goes by pretty quick. And then 100% chance to gain a glimmer of hope for the rest of battle. That's for her. So what is that? 100% independent chance to grant each ally romantic reversal for 9 turns. That seems weird, because we're already giving it to them, right? This is to all her allies except herself. This is odd that they're getting it more. 100% independent chance to grant each ally except yourself effect resistance 1 for 2 turns. Effect resistance 1, that's a little bit more of, it's basically prevents negative status effects, which is all right. So that's going to prevent those dots and those other debuffs that are not CC at the start of battle. Because that romantic reversal, that abnormal status immunity, they're not going to get any kind of CC anyway. So basically, she's a tank. She's a defensive tank or a defensive unit. And she's Hound, which means she's focusing around defensive abilities. Her P1 is all about protecting her allies, which is, it's good. It's good. It's very good. Passive number 2. Upon being hit, when current HP is 50% or lower. So this is a 4-turn cooldown. So really, you're going to use this once in a battle. So upon being hit, when your HP is 50% or lower, grants a shield of 20% of her max HP to each ally except yourself for 2 turns. So kind of interesting, when your HP is low, you're not going to protect yourself, you're going to protect your allies, right? She's sacrificing for the allies. She knows she's going to die. She's just doing something to help the allies. And 100% independent chance to remove 2 debuffs, or abnormal status effects from each ally except yourself. So she's going to be a little bit of a cleanse as well. And then we've all seen this in Arena, 100% chance to gain invincibility for 1 turn. So she's getting lower. She's like, oh shit, I got to help everybody now. But then she's going to give herself invincibility, gives you a chance to heal her. And then she's got to wait 4 turns before she can do this all again. Decent passive, again, all kind of defensive-based abilities. P3, at the start of battle, again, I love at the start of battle passives. 100% independent chance, 100% chance, so just for her to gain a shield equal to 100% of her max HP for 2 turns. So at the beginning of battle, she's going to be beefy. She's going to be real chunky. And then 100% chance to gain effect resistance 3 for 2 turns, which that is 20, 40, 80%. So remember, she's giving Romantic Reversal, which is going to prevent CCs to her allies. And she's going to give herself just a blanket negative status effect resistance for 2 turns, 80%. So for the most part, for the first 2 turns, your whole team is going to be immune to CC, and she's going to be immune to debuffs. So you see how all those passives are. It's all defensive and your ally-centric abilities. Now let's go into her relics. Now she comes in wind. So she comes in her base wind relic. Because I was a dumbass, did not get her frost during her dungeon event. But you can get her fire for free. I do believe it's after you complete Adventure Chapter 10. So in each one of the adventure modes, you get a relic, or you can get a relic if you find the relic dungeon bonus area in each adventure chapter. You get hers at Chapter 10. So if you pull this, don't worry. If you pull this, don't get too happy because this is a free-to-play relic. But you're not going to use this very often. You're going to use either her frost or her wind. So let's go into her wind first. So you see I got mine pretty much maxed. So it's a charge attack, meaning you're going to trigger her S3. And then the next time her attack gauge reaches 100%, you're going to just trigger the rest of this. So it takes basically 2 turns to do this ability. The first term to first activate it, and then the second term to unleash it. Attack 5 times, and you can see this is like a lightning ability. Hitting 1 random enemy each time. Total damage equals 205% attack and 285% defense. You're going to see when my gearing, I kind of have her geared kind of wrong because I haven't focused on her gear, but you want her to be based on defense. She gains more multipliers from her defense than attack. 100% chance for each of the last 2 hits to inflict damage dealt decrease 2 for 1 turn. So just like Sigrin's also a defense character. It's damage dealt decrease. So it's not, your opponent's going to deal less damage. And since it's 100% chance for the last 2 hits, you can do this across the whole board if you spread all your attacks. Actually, you can't because you're only attacking 5 times, and it's only the last 2. So you can only affect 2 units with this. So that's a good ability, but are you going to use this? Primarily, no. You don't primarily use the S3 with Sigrin, or not Sigrin, Guinevere. At least I don't, unless I'm using her incorrectly. I use her S2 quite a bit. So attack 1 enemy 2 times, dealing a damage multiplier based on attack. And what you're going to do is you have a 100% chance to grant each ally a shield based on 13% of her max HP for 2 turns. You build her up with a lot of HP. It's a nice little shield on your units. And 100% chance to gain shield equal to 8% of her. So she's going to give her allies a bigger shield than she gives herself. So true to form, being a tank that only cares about her allies, she's giving more than she's getting. And then I even like her S1. Attack 1 enemy 3 times. Total damage is 69% of attack. So it's an ineffective damage ability. But there's a 90% chance you can get this up to 100 when maxed. And it starts at 70. So let's just say 100% chance for the last hit to inflict that damage dealt decrease 1 for 1 turn. So she also gives damage dealt decrease 2 on her S3. And this can help you also survive, right? It's not defense down, which is better. That's more of an offensive debuff. But this is more of a defensive debuff. So she's going to make it so that whoever she hits less hard. So can you use her S3? Yes. But the way Guinevere is kind of set up is her just being on the battlefield with all that debuff immunity and the abnormal status immunity already brings a lot. The S2 is nice because if you have her in a vigor set, that's basically a free ability each time. You can just keep AoE spamming shields. So you got to look at that as almost like a heal. So she's almost like a tank healer, while not healing HP, this S2 is, is basically an AoE 13% of max HP heal. Now let's look at another healer that does an AoE heal. So she does, a 30% chance, you see, to actually heal HP, but it's for 14%. And of course, you can get this up to a lot higher, but 14% chance to AoE heal for Jillian. 13% chance to heal. Basically, it's a heal. So kind of look at that as almost like a healer as well. So that's that one. Let's look at fire really quickly. So again, a charge attack. One enemy 4 times, so it's a single target. And you are going to put down that damage dealt decrease for 2 turns, right? Similar to wind, except, this one's AoE, this one's single target. So this one, attack all enemies. So the AoE is now on her S2. 100% chance to grant each ally shield. So what we just discussed with her wind S2. And then 100% independent chance to grant co-op attack damage increase. That doesn't really matter. Like, they're trying to get you to use these co-op attacks, which you see she does co-op attacks with Lancelot and Arthur. Arthur, okay. Lancelot, he's more about dots. So is it really necessary? Do we really care about co-op attacks? In my opinion, no. So while this is an AoE, while it still does the shield, the AoE shield, this co-op attack line is just not that good. Versus here, she can heal herself. And then her S1, again, it's the damage. It's basically similar with that damage dealt decrease 1 on the opponent for 1 turn. So that's the fire. Fire is, in my opinion, inferior to the base relic, which is wind. Now let's briefly talk about the frost. So again, a charge attack. Again, it's an AoE. And then she's doing 50% independent chance for last hit to do that damage dealt decrease 1. Whereas this was damage dealt decrease 2. And if you look at the multipliers, if we look at the attack itself, 205, 285. This one is not going to hit very hard, right? So you can increase the attack by 60%. So this one's not hitting hard at all. Why is this good? So this S3 is just bad. S2, attack all enemies. So the S2 is an AoE versus the wind, which was a single target, and the fire was an AoE. 100% chance to grant the ally with the lowest HP, so she can only do a single target heal for a higher percent of her HP. And then 100% chance to grant the ally with the lowest HP co-op attack damage, which we just talked about is kind of trash. And then 100% chance to gain a shield equal to her HP. So she is going to heal herself, 1 ally. She's going to give co-op increased damage to the ally with the lowest HP. Do we care? They're going to have to co-op attack, so it has to be Lancelot or Arthur. You're really kind of pigeonholing your teams. But this is an AoE. So I'd say that the S3 on the Frost and the S2 is, again, inferior to the Wind. And then this one's the same. So really, ladies and gentlemen, you can run her and her base relic. It's probably going to, in my opinion, is the best relic. So Wind is perfectly fine. Perfectly fine for Guinevere. Now let's talk equipment. So you saw with that Wind relic, if you're going to run the S3, it scales off of defense. Otherwise, if you're working more on her S2, you more want to prioritize HP. So I run my Guinevere in a Vigor set. You see that there's a lot of 4-star pieces on this gear set. I have not put a whole lot of time and effort into my Guinevere gear, but I do recommend Vigor and Life. Why? Because I prioritize the S2 over the S3. If you really want to try to get damage out of her, which she's not meant to do, she's a defensive unit. Someone like Sigrun, who's a defensive unit, yes, she is built to spank hard if set up properly. Guinevere, you're not bringing her on the team to do damage. You're bringing her on the team for the abnormal status immunities, and you're bringing her on there for the shields, in my humble opinion. As such, how do you want to build her? You want HP percentage on the neck. Again, if you want to prioritize the S3, defense percentage. HP percentage on the earrings. Again, if you want to prioritize the S3, defense percentage. Attack speed, in my opinion. Attack speed, in my opinion. I don't think I have. I do have an attack speed orb, but it's 4-star. I'll just leave it like this for now. So HP or defense, depending on your preference. HP or defense on the ears, depending on your preference. Attack speed on the ring, and attack speed on the orb, with HP or defense, depending on your preference on the belt. Obviously, your secondaries are going to match your preference versus the S2 or the S3. So you're either going to want to prioritize defense percentage or HP percentage. You could, since she's a tank, you want to kind of prioritize them both anyway. So let's just say for me, HP percentage, defense percentage, attack speed, HP, defense, etc. That's how you want to gear your Guinevere. That's the substats and the primary stats. I do still recommend a vigor set, of course. You know, since, I don't think you're going to want to build her in a full life set, because then you're going to be losing vigor, and she doesn't have someone on her general teams that gives vigor. So I still would recommend that you do run her vigor and either an HP set or a defense set, again, dependent on what skill you want to prioritize. Although, please, you're going to use her for the S2 and the S1. That's what you're going to use her for. More so for the S2. So, vigor and life. Vigor and life. Okay, so that's her gear. That's her passives. That's her relics. Let's look at her chivalries. So mine is at Chivalry 5. So some of the stuff I've said previously is already baked into my kit because I have the chivalries done. So we will kind of reference what her base was. So Romantic Reversal. This is her P1. So skill enhancement. So the Glimmer of Hope was the second part where she's giving more Romantic Reversal to her allies, and then she gives effect resistance 1 to everyone but herself. So it starts out as this tragic ending. So what tragic ending is it's just the chance when hit, give Romantic Reversal to your allies except yourself for 9 turns, right? So it's, to me, this is 1 for 9 turns. That's a lot. That's a lot. Romantic Reversal is a lot. So that's good. And then obviously that's just giving, it's not major. She's just giving herself the effect resistance, which is, and to keep her kind of clean of debuffs. S2, defense. S3, which I already have. So additional skill effect for Princess's Favor. So this was her S or P3. Nope, it wasn't. It was her P2. Right, P2. So that's all of this. This that we discussed, all this middle chunk. That's what she's getting off of her C3. Which was her cleansing. Right? So she's not going to be able to cleanse unless you get her to at least C3. Is that a game breaker? No. No. You're already going to gain the benefit at just that C1 of having all of the abnormal status immunity. And I do believe this cleanse, this was the 4-turn cooldown. Yes, it was. And this is when she drops below 50%. So, she's not game-breaking by any means, this one. And then this one, her C4, so skill 1. This is where, we saw it when we looked at all my relics. This is the damage dealt decrease 1. That she applies to everybody, which makes them hit 20% less hard, which is good. So you will not have any of that on any of your relics unless you get her C4. Is that game breaking? No. If you're prioritizing her S3 or her S2, then you're not even going to notice the C4. The C5, more defense. You saw defense, right? They're really trying to push defense for her, which is going to make her S3 spank actually quite hard. More defense there. There's some attack and HP. And now her C8. So impenetrable stance, additional effect. And this, I do believe, was her her P3, impenetrable stance, correct. 100% independent chance to inflict damage dealt decrease 2 on each enemy for 2 turns. That is nice. That is 40% less damage dealt by the enemy team to your team. for 1 turn. 1 turn. Keep that in mind. 1 turn. So what is this? At the start of battle. So you're only going to get this 1 time. But you all know in PvP fights, that 1 set of enemy turns can often determine the course of battle. So, in my opinion, the C8 is highly geared for PvP. Because if you're in a PvE environment, well, you know, you're going to have the speed lead. You're going to go. Your healers are eventually going to get to go, and you're going to heal back up. So it's not that big of a deal. Her C8, in my opinion, like I just said, is a PvP-focused ability, and this is what makes her really good for PvP, along with all the romantic reversal that keeps you free of crowd control debuffs, right? So Guinevere, she's very, if you look at her at a certain lens, she's very, very PvP focused, but she does have some really niche uses in PvE, which we can discuss now. So we went over chivalries, went over gear, we went over her passives, we went over her relics. Now, where is the number 1 place you're going to use her in game? It's right here. Right here, ladies and gentlemen. So, let's show this off. Let's bring in Morgan. Yeah, let's bring it. Well, let's make her fire. And then let's bring in old Guinevere. Okay. So, Crom Cruach. There is Crom Cruach at the end of story mode. Normal, hard, and hell. If you don't have Guinevere, they're all hell. They're all hell. But I'm not going to finish this battle because I don't want to waste the stamina, because I got videos to make today. But watch what she does here. So Crom's going to come in. He's going to... There you go. So normally, under normal conditions, if you did not have Guinevere there, Crom Cruach is going to eat your whole team and leave 1 person up. Why? That consumption in your team is considered a CC or an abnormal status effect. So, since everyone has romantic reversal at the start of battle, you see it right here, abnormal status immunity, meaning the crotch can't eat your face. Usually it's the other way around, and I'm going to stop right now before I get in trouble. Why? So, and since she gives herself effect resistance as well, sometimes she even stays up on the field, so sometimes your whole team is up. This, I would say, is the number 1 place you are going to use Guinevere in this game. That's her number 1 best place you're going to use her. Number 2 is probably going to be PvP. So let's just quickly go over to the Coliseum. Coliseum, okay. Do we have any Guineveres on the field? We do. Here you go. There you go. Guinevere, right there. Right there. And I'm not going to show you because I basically went over everything that she does. If you don't have her C8, which is great. So if you don't have her C8, you're still going to gain the benefit of having all that abnormal status effects or abnormal status immunity at the start of battle. If you do have her C8, then the enemy team's barely going to frickin' touch you when you start the battle. The problem with Guinevere is she was very, very meta until this meta, at the time of this recording, which is February 7th. At the time of this recording, the meta is shifted over to the Ceres Nika Serpent team. So this team, while still a very, very good defense team, and I've played this guy in another video. It is a very good team. He's got this wind Anya that just spanks hard. Let's go into it. You're gonna see me die, but we're gonna do this. So the mistake I made was it is a flame turn. This is like an evasion team. So we're actually gonna try to go for Anya off the bat because if I don't kill her, she's just going to just wreck my face. So let's please kill her. We did. Okay, good. Now we have a chance because that wind Anya was mean. Now, can we also kill the evasion Turin? We did. Okay, we got it. So now we're just down to Guinevere and Sigrun, which isn't as mean. So now you see Guinevere. You can see all the stuff that she's given. You know, we still can't CC them because they got romantic reversal. She had that big, huge HP shield at the start of battle, which is keeping her alive, letting her do her things. Now we really got to focus on Sigrun, because Sigrun's going to wreck my face if we let her go. Okay, there, we got some attack down on her. That's good. Oh, still didn't kill her, though. Come on, Betty. Come on, Betty. Oh, that didn't hurt. Barely a tickle. Okay. So now you see we're showing she's invincible. Why? Because she dropped below 50% and we hit her. So if she is below 50% and you can nuke her, she will die. But if she's below 50% and you don't hit and you hit her but you don't kill her, she gains that immunity for 1 turn. And it used to be really annoying because immunity used to mean immune to turn meter reduction as well. Now you can at least, you know, reduce her turn meter. Or no, she doesn't reduce the turn meter. She no longer reduces turn meter when she's in invincibility. So she will run, or she will charge her attack gauge, and it'll fall off. Because people used to be able to put her in as a stall team. So PvP is a very viable place. You see, this guy's level 100 in Master 1, 7,500 points. He's doing just fine. Quick look. Defense success. Yay. Okay, cool. All right. So PvP, nice place for her. But you can use her in other places in PvE. So if we just look, there's a dungeon right here. So this guy, what's my team? You see Guinevere's on this team. Why? Because this dragon has a mechanic. He has a mechanic where, you know, right, go back, wave 2. So this guy likes to put a lot of these abnormal statuses on people. So he likes to put brainwash, and then, oh wait, so if they have an abnormal status, then there's a 30% chance to inflict brainwash. He's going to try to inflict brainwash on you. He's got all these bad stuff he wants to put on you. And what prevents stuff like that? Well, it is abnormal status immunity, which Guinevere gives from romantic reversals. So she is tailor-made for this fight. Plus, there's a mechanic in this fight that if you have shields, and it's been so long since I went in here. If you have shields, then you're immune. So Guinevere, very, very, very good for this fight, even though for the most part people tend to avoid this boss because, you know, life gear and drain gear and defense gear isn't as highly sought after as, you know, Nest. And you get the same materials. So you get these same materials down here. These ones are the main ones that you use for crafting. You get these from Nest of Yskelheim as well. So, but that's not the only place you can use her in PvE. I have used her in Forbidden Dungeon hard mode stages. Let me pull up my Google Sheet, and I'll show you exactly where I have been using her. Okay, let's take you on a journey of discovery. Okay, so you guys haven't seen my sheet. I'm gonna move me down to this corner. So obviously I'm missing some floors, but I am going to have these all filled in for you eventually. So where have I used Gwen? I definitely used her in stage 14. You can see this person right here used her with Anya, Morgan, and Turin. I completed it using Lot, Turin, and Morgan. So there's one place you use her right here too. There's a Guinevere right here on floor 13. There's a Guinevere right there on floor 13. So she is definitely usable. There's a Guinevere right there on floor 15. I know this is small. Sorry. So I'm just scanning. No more for a while. No more for a while. No more for a while. Oh, there's a Guinevere right there on floor 24. Scan. Scan. There's a Guinevere right there on floor 43. You get the point. So she does have her uses in Forbidden Dungeon hard mode as well. That spreadsheet is linked in the description of this video if you need it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap that up right there. That is my deep dive on Guinevere. I do feel like I have done a service to Guinevere. I think I have explained her properly. As we said at the beginning of this video, the safe word of the day, code word of the day, is going to be chainmail underwear in honor of our fair lady Guinevere. So, ladies and gentlemen, put chainmail underwear down in the comment section below. I will know that you made it through 30 minutes of Canadian rambling. Check out all the links in the description. They give you good things. They take you good places. Till next time, ladies and gentlemen, I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers. Peace. Where's the button? Bye-bye.